At this point in the process of creating a related database in FileMaker, we're assuming that you've already gone through the data modeling exercise, got your tables determined and defined, and also gone into your database and defined all of your primary and foreign key fields. If you open up your exercise files, you'll see that we've got a file called 0403. Opening up 0403 and going into the Manage Database option, and you'll see that we've got our 4 tables defined, and double-clicking each table shows different fields that are defined. You can also use the drop-down list to show those field names, and you see that we've got all of our primary keys and our foreign keys defined within our table. Now you'll notice that there's another tab on the far right here, and that one is called Relationships. Go ahead and click on the Relationships tab, and what you're seeing here is your first glimpse of what's called the relationship graph. And inside this relationship graph is where we can establish the relationships between the tables and also manage them in the future. You'll see that we have 4 different blocks or squares within this relationship diagram. Each one of these blocks is known as a table occurrence. And every time you define a table in FileMaker Pro over in the Tables tab, FileMaker will automatically add a table occurrence to the relationship graph for you. It's important not to think of these occurrences as tables, because we're going to learn later in this title that a single table could be represented on the relationship graph by multiple table occurrences. We're not going to worry about that right now, but instead we're going to focus on there being one table occurrence per table defined in our database. Now our goal in this exercise is to create relationships between these tables. We've already got our key fields defined, and our goal here is to create relationships, and that's really the easy part as far as the task inside the database is concerned, because to physically create these relationships inside of the FileMaker relationship graph doesn't really take much effort. You'll just take your cursor and you'll go into the parent table, in this case, customers. You'll click down on the field that you want to use as your primary key, and you'll notice that the cursor turns into a cursor with a little dumbbell below it. And as you drag outside of that box over to the table occurrence that's going to represent the child table, you'll have to pick between the 2 fields. And this is why I like to use the naming convention that we've chosen for the foreign key fields, because you'll see it's pretty obvious. You do customer ID to customer ID with the PK on the parent side, FK on the child side. So after you select the foreign key field in the relationship, you'll release your cursor, and you'll see that FileMaker then isolates which of the 2 fields are your key fields in your relationship. And it also draws a little line that looks like a single to triple hash crow's foot, showing the crow's foot on the many side and the single on the parent side. So real easy, you just click and drag between the different foreign keys. And we've made this an even easier task because of the names that we've chosen for our key fields. So as you see here, we've got orders and order line items. We click on the primary key for orders. Deciding which of these key fields is going to be the foreign key in this relationship is pretty easy because it's got the similar name to the primary key field. So we'll go orders ID PK to orders ID FK. And FileMaker adjusts that and shows that primary key field and foreign ID key field isolated. And then finally, the last one, the product ID, very simple, product ID PK, the product ID FK. So not only are your table occurrences visually linked within the database, but now FileMaker has actually created relationships between these tables and also identified the specific fields defined within the tables as the key fields to link those tables together. So once you've gone through this process that we've just done here, you can then move on to start defining other things inside of your database. Later in this title, I'm going to show you the various different ways that you can use the relationships that we've set up here. All the different relationships that you're managing inside of FileMaker are all done through the Relationships tab.